Now, one of the lead applicants in the Robodebt class action says that the former PM Scott Morrison still lacks insight into his role in the botched scheme. And then there's pressure from other elements like Bridget Archer, who we just showed you at the barbecue on the weekend with Linda Burney. Well, she's today called on him to resign from Parliament.
I think he's taken no responsibility or accountability for his actions.
I believe this is nothing but a political witch hunt, and in the lead up to this by-election and also the next election.
Scott Morrison and all of these ministers and bureaucrats are going to have to live with this on their conscience for the rest of their lives.
And this will be a matter for Scott Morrison. As my colleague Jason Clare has pointed out, this could have been avoided with a number of checks and balances and proper governance and proper cabinet processes.
Also news today that the Cronulla Sharks are reportedly considering revoking Scott Morrison's #1 ticket holder status. That would be devastating for the former PM. Joe Hildebrand, you know, what's your take here?
Look, I've got to say, and again, I very rarely like to join pylons, but I just find this just staggering. And I had the same response to the Scott Morrison taking on his ministerial colleagues' portfolios without telling them from under their noses. I just do not understand what is going on here. You've got a Royal Commission that has found so unequivocally that there was such serious wrongdoing and such harm caused that she's recommending criminal charges against some unknown figures. We don't know if that's the former PM or not.
They've said it's not the former PM.
Oh, there you go. So that's
Didn't they say that?
All I'm aware of is that all the names are sealed. I don't think anyone's been ruled in or out. But if something has come clean, recently come through. Yeah. So you've done that. Then you've got Peter Dutton, to his great credit, saying sorry to the victims, apologising to the victims. You've got Stuart Robert, to his credit, saying to the Royal Commission earlier this year, I accept responsibility for this. And then you've got Scott Morrison just putting out quite a terse statement that basically says, I completely deny any wrongdoing, and any wrongdoing against me is wrong.
Let's bring in Andrew Carswell. You're Scott Morrison's former press secretary, although not at the time when he was the minister that had anything to do with this. What's your view on whether he's taking enough responsibility for this or not?
Well, I think the most important point that Scott is trying to put forward here is that he does completely reject the adverse findings against him by the Commission. I think that's an entirely appropriate thing for him to put forward to defend his position, and he should be afforded the respect to be able to do that. But whether he's shown enough contrition, which I think found a strange argument from the Labor Party in the last couple of days, he has shown contrition all the way through the Royal Commission. He sat there and said, some heartfelt things towards those that are victims here. He acknowledged that the policy itself turned out to be an absolute basket case. He has shown contrition, and he indeed reaffirmed that contrition in the statement, but it's always conveniently left out by those that seek to bring him down. But I think the most important point here is he rejects the findings outright.
Yeah, that's what's so baffling, though. But it clearly, I mean, he could have said, look, yes, I neglected to make sure that legal advice was sought, and I'm sorry about that. But instead, he's just issued a blanket rejection that anything adverse against him must be wrong or must be rejected. And that is what's so weird. He doesn't seem to be engaging with the source material, as they say.
Andrew, do you want to respond to that?
The problem is, Joe, is that what was put forward by the Commissioner was that there was two main points, that he effectively misled Cabinet, and he lied to the Commission. On the first point, if we are to take what the Commissioner said, and that means if you're in government, every piece of advice that comes up from the department, you must now independently verify and check whether it's accurate or not, independently, and then go about accepting it or rejecting it. If that was to occur in government, it would completely shut down the process of government. So the findings here, yes, while they look at some important parts of why this policy fell over,
but he could have just said, "Is it legal?"
This would grind government to a halt.
Three words. He could have said, "Is it legal?" And that would have solved all their problems and saved them $1.8 billion.
You'd assume that advice from your department would be legal. That would be
by the department.
All right, we're out of time,
Joe. They hit that advice.
Gentlemen, we are out of time. Andrew Carswell and Joe Hildebrand, great seeing you both.
Thank you very much,
Monday.